Everyone's back? So welcome back. Just to let you know that there's going to be a little change in our agenda. So we are going to finish today with a panel discussion, and the surprise will be for tomorrow night. So you'll have to come back tomorrow night. I'm sorry about that. So the next panel and the last panel for the day would be about powering the digital economy, innovation, talent, and inclusive growth in Mauritius. So this discussion will be moderated by Mr. Denis Morgan, a group head of digital transformation and general manager at Raw IT Services. A little brief about Denis, and then I'll allow him to introduce his panelists. Denis, with more than 2 decades of experience in information technology, digital transformation, cybersecurity, and enterprise innovation, Mr. Denis has been instrumental in driving technology-led transformation across diverse industries. He leads strategic initiatives that enhance operational excellence, strengthen cyber resilience, and accelerate digital innovation within one of Mauritius' leading business groups. A passionate advocate for emerging technologies and digital leadership, he is widely recognized for his expertise in IT governance, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and organizational transformation. Through his leadership and vision, he continues to empower businesses to embrace innovation while building secure and future-ready digital ecosystem. So let's welcome Mr. Denis for his panel.
Thank you, Samira, for this introduction. So good afternoon, everyone. I think we've got a very tight timing. So I did prepare my panel, but I'll try to be short as possible because we know that there's the traffic that's actually in the afternoon. So to start with, digital transformation actually is not only about platform, systems, or automation. It is about competitiveness, people, inclusion, and sustainable growth. Today, we will connect the local innovation agenda, Gulf Africa, investment opportunities, and the role of sustainability and talent in shaping the future digital workforce. So for the panel discussion, I will call some of the panelists. I will invite them to join me on stage. So our first panelist is Shoaib Piaboukas, who is the co-founder of SmartSolve. Shoaib brings the perspective of a local technology entrepreneur who understands what it takes to build digital solutions from the ground up and how innovation can help merchant businesses become more competitive. Thank you, Shoaib. Our second panelist is from UAE, and that's Mr. Mohamed Ashraf, the CEO of Orbit Group. So Mr. Mohamed brings a valuable Gulf Africa perspective, especially around investment, partnership, and the models that can help Mauritius position itself as a credible digital bridge into Africa market. Thank you. I actually forgot to put my specs on. And our third panelist is Archala Melu-Herpel, who is the marketing and sustainability lead at EO Solutions Limited. Archala brings an important lens on sustainability marketing and inclusion, helping us connect digital growth with purpose, talent development, women, young people, and responsible businesses. So thank you all to our panelists. So I will now proceed with the questions. I will join you on stage. Here. Thank you. Are you all comfortable? So I've got quite some exciting questions for you, and I hope that the audience will also ask questions. I know it's the last panel discussion. There's the traffic. Okay, we'll try to skip the traffic. Okay, we'll start with Shweb. And Shweb, from your experience building Smart Solve, what are the biggest digital innovation opportunities for Mauritius to become more competitive in Africa?
Well, this is a very fantastic question. We keep hearing that so many times. So one of the important things is when we talk about business, about competition, we need to bet exactly on what we're going to play. Well, Mauritius is small, is agile, got a strong, stable political environment. We've got an educated population, strong financial sector, strong IT sector. And essentially, this is where we should play. We shouldn't bet on about the size or the scale that we see around us in Africa. No, there's no way we can compare that. What we should leverage is more about our know-how, our capacity to innovate and to bring technology in the business landscape. So basically what we are saying here is Mauritius could be one of the regional innovation hub where we partner with our brothers in Africa. So this is how we should be looking at it. It's not about doing business. It's not about selling. It's about we partner together to solve a problem, to bring solution, to create value. This is what I've seen as entrepreneur that really works, like we create value as partner.
Thank you, Sean. I think today we've heard a lot of people talking about cybersecurity, resilience. We've heard about infrastructures to promote that digital economy. And I just want to ask you this. If you had to prioritize one or two sectors in Mauritius that could move faster, where would you actually, where should we place our energy? Would it be, I don't know, fintech, govtech, AI, cybersecurity, logistic, tourism? Because the buzzword today is AI. Everyone talks about AI, and if you see around social media, I've heard someone saying that we should be controlling the media, because every day we see all sort of adverts of having expert in AI. So where do you think we should prioritize our energy here?
Well, I think you almost had the answer. The answer is definitely it should be AI. But the way we should look at AI, that's what makes the big difference. AI is a tool. It's an enabler for us to make things happen. We talk about digital security. We talk about innovation. We talk about speed, about supporting business. These are all is how we use that tool, that AI tool. So I think this is where I would bet is let's put all the effort behind that tool to make us more productive, more efficient.
Thank you. I've got one more question for you. So, as you know, in Mauritius, the local economy depends a lot on SMEs. And we see that the government is putting a lot of focus on the SMEs, promoting SMEs. We've heard EDB, what they are doing to promote women in entrepreneurship. And I think what would be one practical innovation that SME in Mauritius can adopt now to improve efficiency, customer experience, or even growth in what they do?
Well, essentially, when we look at SME, the way that they behave, they are small, they are nimble, and we need to support that. We shouldn't hinder that with technology or AI tools. But one area where SMEs lacks speed for execution is their back office, is the administration. Unfortunately, many of the entrepreneurs, they are passionate about their work. They focus on delivering, on creating things, but they forget that there are admin stuff that to be done. But when you look at the admin, it dates like easily a couple of decades back. This is where we bring the AI to respond to their email, to provide the customer support, to write their reports, to do their day-to-day admin, responding to emails. So this is where we need to empower these SME, that the technology is for them. It's for them to work more in an agile fashion, more streamlined, instead of pitching AI like, it's true, it's becoming like the differentiating factor against the competitors. But before you go to the differentiating factors, you need to look at the enablers. We need to get the basics right. If the basics isn't right, that's where everything crumbles.
Thank you. I think you've answered most of my next follow-up question, but I still want to ask you this. If you had to give an advice to an SME owner for the next 30 days to start seeing measurable improvement, what would that be as advice?
Well, the advice is they need to understand that when we bring in technology, technology is not the silver bullet. It's not going to fix your problem. That's where the problem is that we've seen for the last 20, 25 odd years, where people believe that when they bring ERP into the company, it solves all their problem. Actually, it didn't. It creates more problem. It creates more expenses. But the way that my advice is, you need to bring someone which is knowledgeable about doing that business transformation, where you need to bring the people, your process, and then you plug in the technology. The technology always comes at the end. The technology conversation cannot start with that. If we start with a technology conversation, that's where we get everything wrong. We need to understand where we want to create value, how we bring the people together. And the technology is just about enabling it to happen. So the same conversation needs to happen with the SME. Instead of rushing and be like, the expert in technology and start telling, the tech guy what to do, you should say, okay, come and focus, see how I works, and then you tell me how you bring value to my business. I think this would be the better question.
Thank you, Shep. And I think what you said is, to summarize this, is what problem are we trying to solve?
Exactly.
Before thinking about any technology, about implementing any solution, I think we should be understanding what problem are we trying to solve.
Exactly.
Thank you. Treb, thank you very much. We will move on now from a local adoption to a regional scale and investment. And we have with us Mohamed. So you bring an important Gulf Africa perspective. The UAE has moved with speed, ambition, and strong public-private alignment. Which innovation model or investment approach could Mauritius learn from or adapt?
Thank you for giving me a wonderful opportunity to be part of this great panel. And let me speak about specifically about UAE and its policy with regard to the investment. It has completely a big picture to offer, not just limited to the AI or information technologies. If I specifically speak about the AI or the information technology, we have different models that anyone can easily adopt. For example, UAE has implemented a lot of free zones, technoparks, technical industries where a company can operate much more easier than anywhere else. For example, like Dubai International Financial City, DIFC. For example, like ADGM Abu Dhabi Global Market. All this offers a sandbox type. That means a fintech company can operate. They can run, they can test their quality, their product, their services before getting complete operational license. This is an important, innovative way that any startups company can easily come in and test their product and quality and services before they get a complete operational license, so that they have a lot of barriers to avoid. This actually attracts a lot of fintech companies across the globe. And also, the way they provide the visas, entries, the way they provide foreign policies, investment, they have completely laid an easy way, a common way, a civilian way, so that anybody can access at any point. You know that there are a lot of technocrats working from across the globe where they are paid in UAE dirhams, because the government even promote in such a way that you don't need to be physically there. So how many of our companies here in Mauritius are ready to adopt such changes? Are you ready to hire technocrats across the globe where you will be still part of the working community of Mauritius? Such a lot of opportunities the government has worked inside and shoulder to shoulder with the companies, giving them an attractive packages and giving them an innovative kind of atmosphere so that they can have a free, you can say free demo or free style of working conditions here.
I've got a follow-up question for you. So, in your experience, what makes investors trust a market? So, is it, we've talked a lot about infrastructure, we've talked a lot about regulation, there's the talent, there's the speed of execution, and there eventually the partnership quality. What do you think is the most predominant part of it for an investor to come and trust our market?
First of all, it should be the sense of security and the legal framework what an investor is being offered. When he put his money in whichever market it may be, the security, the backup, what first has to be taken care by the concerned authorities, where they are ready to take the responsibility or they're ready to partially share the responsibility and accountability. So that makes an outsider investor much more attractive to come to any market. And then secondly, the mobility side. And thirdly, it could be like maybe providing a lot of incentives, kind of visa issues, or it could be something like the repatriation way. This could be all the attractive packages for any foreign investor to come to any market, be it Mauritius or be it anywhere, to hold this sense of responsibility, sense of accountability, sense of security, and the legal framework they are offered, so that they can be much more secure to enter any unknown market with the products and service what they have in hand here.
So I think what you're saying is that we need to make sure that we have the proper regulation, the proper framework in place to allow this to happen. So that would be the one of the most important one to do first to attract investors in Mauritius.
Exactly.
Thank you. Since you are in the Gulf, so if Mauritius wants to be more visible to Gulf investors and digital partners, what should we strengthen in our position and ecosystem? We've talked about the legal framework, but apart from that, what do we need to do next? Because I think Mauritius offers quite a lot of opportunities. There are many policies that are being kind of put in place to make it happen. But in your perspective, what do we do? What do we do next?
I think with concern, if I connected with UAE, we have already signed a SEPA with Mauritius. And I must remind you that the first country in African region, UAE, has taken Mauritius under SEPA. So the quality, the products, the services, what Mauritius has to offer back to UAE, they have to make sure that this SEPA has been implemented on the right way, in the fastest way possible, because there are a lot of other similar markets in line, in queue, to have happened this kind of trade agreements, and they can be even parallel to the Mauritius. So it is like how quickly you are adapting to the changes, how quickly you are adapting to the trade agreements that have been signed. I think in 2024, this SEPA has been signed, and 2025, it has come into partially existent, and it's now keep on going. So they have to include the trade services, they have to include the most of the products and services in line as fast as possible, so that they can raise as a regional hub. And for sure, Mauritius so far, if you compare with any other African market, they have a diversified, especially in the digital hub. They have been, they are also strategically positioned even. So, but yet the pace or the growth level what we expect through in the SEPA with UAE is not yet to the mark what we expected. So this is something which you need to work quickly as possible, because any investor, be it individual investors or be it be nation by G to G, they have all different markets in parallel aligned to grab the opportunity.
Thank you. So I don't know for the audience, but I think after this panel discussion, I would be very much interested to know how I can market myself there in UAE, because we've got competencies, we've got a lot of SMEs here in Mauritius with capability. So I think we can export our capability there and create good partnership for Africa.
Well, UAE is for everyone, the whole or outside the whole, who are ready to showcase their talent, who are ready to work hard. The government is giving you all kind of facility, all kind of ease, whatever you ask for. So it's not limited for anyone. It could be not just limited to one field or one sector. For every sector, UAE is all ready to adapt to, because this is what UAE is made of. Yeah, because you can see a country, or especially when it comes to GCC and even to Dubai or to UAE, the 1/3 or 2/3 of the populations are expats. So you can imagine how the country is running, on what trust it's running. They trust the capabilities, skills, innovations, rather than the ethnic or the race or the continent on the area you are coming from. They just care about how potential you are, how productive you are. You all have the cake there.
Thank you, Mohammed. I think we were saying earlier that Vimal did raise the bar when he did his keynote speech, but I'm pretty sure when we finish our panel discussion, there will be many people in the audience coming to see you to see how we can invest in UAE. Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. With given the terms and conditions, what we said, you are ready to no zigzag, no backdoors. You're straight away talented. You're always recognized, and you're always given equal chance there. No matter where are you from, where exactly you're from, what is your base. It is for UAE, for everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we now turn to the human and inclusive dimension of digital economy. So, Achala, thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you, Denis.
So, I'm trying to find my questions. Okay. Hope there will be not too much traffic in my questions.
Please.
So, Atala, digital growth also needs trust, purpose, and responsible positioning. From your perspective, how can marketing and sustainability work together so that the digital economy create inclusive growth rather than only commercial growth?
Yes, thank you for the answer. Well, in fact, the good or the bad thing of being the last ones to speak is that everybody has said everything that should be said. There's the lady, Her Excellency, a bit earlier, she talked about sustainability, inclusive growth. So this is about it. Marketing and sustainability are allies. They are together. One can't work without the other, because marketing will communicate what sustainability is about. Well, what I would say is, like everybody knows, marketing is a very old subject, so it's about how you sell your services out. I've been talking to one of our friends from Nigeria. We were talking about Nigeria being cybersecurity and all the issues. So how do we sell ourselves? How do we sell Africa? How do we sell Mauritius? How do we sell our goods and services? Well, to be on the sustainability part, I would say that businesses should use marketing to share stories, but they need to have eco-friendly products, and they should walk the talk, not just say we are having eco-friendly products and it's not the fact. This is a bit about what I wanted to say. And about the inclusive part, well, maybe it's about giving a voice to the unheard, because be it the young ones, women-led enterprise, or the SMEs, they might not have the voice, or they might not be seen. So what maybe policymakers should do is give them the opportunity to come out. Means the lady from EDB this morning, she talks about she trades. And it's the first time I'm hearing about that, and very interesting. So there are platforms which are there, but we need to go and find them. And I also believe we should be implementing like more collaborative campaigns, sort of like Green Tech Africa. I think we talked about that earlier, and more digital inclusion for women, because inclusion is like leaving no one behind. It's the SDG goals that was there by the UN. Yes, it was created by the United Nations, but we have the 17 goals which are there, and the leave no one behind should be the word. I think somebody from the panel or from the speakers this morning, they talked a little bit about we should not leave anyone behind in our thinking and in everything that we do when we are, and sustainability is about impact. So no greenwashing should be allowed. I have an example. I've been to South Africa last year. Means like in Mauritius, where I can say we're a little bit ahead because we are conscious. We go the environmental path about plastic and all, because we all know that it's very bad for the environment and climate resilience. So I would say we need to work a lot when we're doing our thinking for our African growth and market. We need to put sustainability as a subject. It has to be there, and it has to be on the purpose and the scope. I believe this is very important. Yes?
You talk about communication. I think everyone got a follow-up question, so you will have one also.
Okay.
So how do you think businesses need to communicate sustainability without falling into vague claims and instead show real impact? Because today we know that we are flooded with communication, with the social media, everywhere. So you see all sorts of communication coming out. So how do you really show real impact?
To start with, we should understand what are the metrics. Marketing metrics is about engagement, it's about the TCAs, the callback actions, whereas the sustainability impact is about the carbon footprint. So when the communication, everybody can talk about, yes, we're talking about AI as well, everybody can talk about diminishing plastics or any types of sustainability talks, but what impact has this been done? I was like discussing a bit earlier when I remember I was in the same room last year for WITA, and Mr. Vimal Gangadin presented the digital platform, the Mighty GPT, and it was like, wow, that's a dream. But I can see today it's a dream come true. It's like you walk the talk. So these are types of communication which you can value, that is something which has really come out of a vision and of a discussion or of a strategic thought. And the good thing is the backtrack which he talked about. Well.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right to say that in every action, there should be a measurable outcome. So we should be able to measure what we are doing. And I think also it's also good that we accept failures and we acknowledge failures. Because very often what we see, we talk about success. We talk about things that we've made, we've achieved. But before achieving something, I think there are many failures. And the lesson I've been personally learning is that you learn from failures. And this is what makes you grow. So I think it's not a shame to say that we fail. And we should take lesson from that and then continue to grow. So my next question is about, something very interesting and very passionate, I think, for everyone, for every organization, when we talk about talent and inclusion. So talent is one of the decisive factors in digital transformation. What should businesses do now to prepare young people and women for the future of digital workspace. Because we see a lot of initiatives being done, but in your perspective, how do we make this become measurable outcomes?
I think businesses should be made responsible, because it's like businesses are not just beneficiaries of the talent, they are architects of the talent development. They are the ones who will mold the young ones, the young adults, the small entrepreneurs into what they want. Because the ecosystem is like, if a group of companies exists, there are a lot of small enterprises all around them, because it doesn't exist, or as service providers, I would mean. But the businesses, like large conglomerates or small ones, they should onboard young talents, especially women and young ones. I'll bounce back on that. We had a discussion earlier. It was like how to get the millennials on board. Well, a very interesting fact, I was sharing that with some of our colleagues. Simon Sinek said that we are the ones who are making these millennials be what they are today. Means like from the age of 1 year, a child is using a mobile phone, whereas maybe in our years we heard about the mobile phone, but not until when we were 10 or 20 years old. So we are the ones who are creating the future talents of tomorrow. So businesses should onboard, take the risk, onboard them, and understand them, not just hire and fire, because they are not who we were at a certain point. That's something. Means I heard a lady also this morning, she talked about upskilling, mentorship program. Well, these are like guiding programs which are very important, which businesses should include in their HR or talent charter to onboard new young ones. Also, we should take into consideration the gender inclusive policies. There's more and more girls in the IT sector. There's more and more girls in the transportation sector. So we should be women ready. Our organization should be women ready to be able to accept. Now with the budget, we have 1 year of leave to give them, but we have to accept to let, or even trust, we've talked a lot about trust today, somebody, an employee, to work from home because she's pregnant. She can't come to work. So we have to make our businesses, well, it's good, it's very sweet talk, but how to make it happen, this I will leave to the HR people. I'm not a marketing person, but we should maybe help in the sustainability side with the gender inclusive programs to onboard more youngsters. I believe so.
Thank you. Just to reflect on what you said, I think it is possible. Okay, I think it is possible for women to work 1 year home, because if you've got the right infrastructure, that should be possible. Because today, we all, I think, we live in a world of mobility, and I think we can work anywhere in the world, so we don't need to be in an office to work. So I think it's all possible, and you know, I'm quite encouraged from the different perspective of what I'm hearing from other people, other panelists, other speakers. Why? On a personal note, because I'm a father of a girl, a young girl, 23 years old. I should say woman, and I think I would like my daughter to live in a world where she can choose to do what she likes, the way she likes, and to have a freedom. Because most probably what we were doing and the way we were working would be very different going forward with what's happening in technology. So I don't know if I've got time for cross-panel questions. Otherwise, so Samira is looking at me. So I don't think we'll have time for cross-panel question. But I don't know if the audience have got any questions for the panelists. We would be happy to answer to your questions. Anything or anyone. I know you're very tired, but most probably if you have questions, I don't know. Okay, so thank you very much, all three of you, for this insightful discussion. So we look forward to have more discussion with the audience, and I think tomorrow.
Add something.
Yes, of course.
I just wanted to add something to complete on the. Africa is a very young market. Means, yes, in Mauritius we have an aging population, but in Africa, within Africa, I mean, in Madagascar, be it anywhere else in Africa, we have a lot of young people emerging.
Sure.
So maybe this should be one subject on the panel. So how do we onboard these youngsters? Because they are the ones who will carry on whatever we are putting down as a charter, but they are the ones who will do the talk in the future.
Thank you. So just to close the panel discussion, so thank you to all our panelists. And I think the message is clear. So Mauritius can power its digital economy by combining innovation, investment, talent, and inclusion. I think the next step, we've heard it during the day, is disciplined execution, practical adoption, stronger regional partnership, and deliberate investment in people. With that, I thank you all. Thank you very much.
One question.
Hello, yes. Excellent panel discussion. I do have a question around young businesses. Do you have a presence of young businesses or young organizations such as a youth chamber of commerce here in Mauritius?
Yeah, so essentially it's not like a very formal thing. So we have got things like JCI, and you've got platforms like the incubators that helps bring the entrepreneur together to make that happen. So, yeah.
If I may add, from that perspective of entrepreneurs, we do have one which is the GA Mascarene. The
Yes.
GA Mascarene to accompany youth in the entrepreneurship. So as from the age of 16, 17 and onward, from
Yeah,
the
that's right.
secondary level, right?
So if we are talking about entrepreneurship, I think I will add an observation from my end. I think what's missing is a powerhouse, a national powerhouse for these young entrepreneurs, because mostly today it's initiative from private sector. But I believe, although there are from the government side some initiative being done, but I think the synergy, this is something very important that we need to focus on. So if you want to have execution and you want to have speed, you need to have synergy. So that's my take, actually, my observation from that part.
Thank you, Denis.
Thank you to our last panel moderator and panelists. I will try to be very short because I know you're all tired and been concentrated on all these insightful contents. Just as a trailer, I embody today the contrast as a rapporteur of the day. I embody the contrast between a HR-generated summary of insights, human intelligence-generated summary, compared to the surprise that Samira has kept for tomorrow, So let me begin with a few terms that came up during the panel discussions. Discipline in action. And yes, Mauritians, it's quite humbling as a Mauritian to recognize that we need discipline, and we humbly hope that we can transmit this willingness of discipline to our mainland, to our fellow African neighbors, and this is very important. We mentioned collective willingness, but this is inclusive growth. Inclusive growth in gender, in age and generation, in communities. How do we prosper? Because we're talking about fostering prosperity, but how do we prosper inclusive of all communities? And God knows how Africa has contrast within its own diverse populations. Something very interesting in Mauritius, Vimal mentioned something. We are small enough to go fast and to damage control. And this is, we recognize it. We do not boast about our success because we know that our size and population allow us to go fast and damage control. And the exportation of know-how is something that our fellow neighbors can look into as collaboration and partnership. So the message that has clearly emerged is Africa does not lack potential. It's a young continent, and it's someone from an aging population country that is speaking. We look into the resources that Africa has to give, including the human resources that Africa has to give. And we position ourselves today as partners in problem solving. And this is where the catalysm and dynamics can happen. So Africa requires aligned leadership, trusted systems, courageous partnerships, and disciplined executions. On behalf of GCIL Mauritius, I extend our sincere gratitude to all our speakers, panelists, moderators, sponsors, partners, delegates, and organizing teams who contributed to the success of today's program. We continue tomorrow, day 2, which will include interactive roundtables, B2B and B2G engagements, investment discussions, and of course our gala night. So as we close, let us carry forward the spirit of today: clarity, collaboration, and commitment. Thank you, have a nice evening, and see you tomorrow.
Now the pool is open for you. You can jump in the pool.